about it, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, sorry, can't hear you there. Come on, R6. You can do it, buddy. Get a little startup going here for you. Now, something I've noticed with the R6s, it did happen with the previous one as well. A little bit of a hesitation. Come on. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Listen to that. Oh. One day, boys, we're going to have one of these. Either this generation, I reckon either like 2010, 2012, 2016, or the first year that they did the change, which I think was in 2012. But we will own an R6 one day, boys. That is a matter of fact. Alrighty. So, Baba boy, the bike is warm. Don't worry, I'm not just jumping on a cold bike and ripping it. Oh, my feet are a little bit wet. Now, a terrible piece of information. I desperately need to pee, so that might have a role in my comfort of this review, but we are just going to try and push through it, so we don't really have time to spare right now. As I said, boys, there's a lot of pressure on the wrists, especially going down the hill. I must say, it feels very weird doing a review on a bike and not being where I usually am. This thing sounds insane, boys. I must say, it's not quite as loud as the Trapona, but it still sounds damn good. And it's actually a beautiful day for a review, I must say. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. You've got optimal temperatures. Now, as we always do, boys, we're going to get going with the comfort first. Now, as I said previously, I am not crazy about the look of the seat. However, I do like how it sits. So when I'm not at a traffic light and, you know, the wide inseam isn't bothering me, I must say it is a very, very, very comfortable seat. It's not common that the seats are uncomfortable, but you know, this one is just more comfortable than most seats that I've ridden with. Positioning of the feet, I will say it is a little bit far backwards. That is the one thing that kind of sticks out to me. Other than that, I like it. You know, it does give you that sort of a racing feel. It does keep you more leaned over, and I found that I don't really have to move my feet that much. Normally when you're coming into a corner, you're going to bring your foot up, you're going to have your toes on that peg. But even without doing that as much, I do find that I still have a lot of control over the bike. Overall, it's just a really, really nice positioning of the foot pegs, boys. And again, there is a lot of adjustments that you can make once you get some rear sets. You know, you can push them further back, further down, further forward, and all those sorts of things. But with the stock setup, I'm more than happy. Moving on to the positioning of your clip-ons. Now, I must say, boys, there is quite a lot of pressure on the wrists. However, once you get up to speed, that pressure goes away. So I would say you more so feel it when you are stationary or when you're on the brakes. Otherwise, you don't really notice it too much. Cruising, again, with the wind, it does take some of the pressure off. However, there is quite a bit of pressure on the wrists, and again, that just comes down to the bike itself. It is an R6, it is a track orientated bike, similar to that of the Daytona 675s, and that's just why these things do so well on the track, boys. Like the Daytona 675, I feel like before they built the road version, I feel like before we got these and, you know, the Daytona 675, they made an absolute weapon for the track, and then they just chucked all that stuff on that you need to make it roadworthy. And I must say, I'm a huge fan of that, boys. I love me that racing feeling, and this is what that bike gives you. Now, positioning of the thighs, I will say it doesn't feel as comfortable as some of the other bikes I've ridden. Well, I don't know what happened there, anyways. It is not as comfortable as some of the bikes I've ridden. For example, the Gixxer 750. That was such a comfortable bike. I must say it is more comfortable than the R6. However, that's just what it is, boys. So, if it was just a little bit more of like a, indented over here, it would provide a little bit more of a comfier positioning for the thighs. However, I'm just being petty at this point, boys. I'm just I'm going in depth, which is what this is about. Now, one thing, when I rode this bike home from the shop, I had my backpack, and my backpack, it wasn't too full, but it was, the normal stuff that you're going to take to and from work. And my back and wrists were dying. And it is a fancy backpack. This is literally a backpack made for riding bikes. It's a hard shell, it's got the chest clip, it's super comfy, there's a lot of cushioning on it. So, here we got some what is that? It's cake. I thought it was pineapple. Let's get some cake for the boys. Yeah, it put a lot of pressure on my wrist and on my back. So, if I had this, would I ride it to work? Probably not. Probably not. I don't think I would daily this. This is not the type of bike that you're gonna buy to be a daily. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna buy it to go and rip on the weekends. You're gonna buy it to go and rip on the track. So it makes sense. Although the seat is nice and squishy and cushiony, here's the dead spot. Dead. Wakes up. You see that? It's so crazy. Like you literally lose power, and then it wakes up. Am I recording? Yeah. It's super weird, but I'm gonna try not talk about it too much. Dead. It's so weird. I wonder if it's got something to do with the tune on it. Yeah, that dead spot is very annoying. It's so annoying because it's like at that exact speed where you're doing your slow speed maneuvers. So you never know when that power is just gonna kick and take off. Anyways. As I said about the seat, I appreciate it for this cushioning. However, I don't appreciate it for the width of the seat. It doesn't suit my inseam at all. Now again, if you're a taller human being or a longer human being, it will be much more, and you won't really notice it. But if you have a small inseam, it might be something that bothers you. Now, obviously, the seat is not stock. So yeah, I think the stock seats are a little bit more comfortable in terms of just how they feel overall, whereas this one is just highlights the cushioning. Really, that's about it. What I will say is the gears are exceptionally smooth, especially first, second to third. Very, very nice. And I haven't hit a false neutral since I've been riding this bike, so that's a huge pro if you ask me. Now, when you're sitting at a traffic light, the seat is a little bit uncomfortable, purely because you have to kind of stick your leg out a little bit more than usual, or I do at least. But once you're moving, it's super comfy. Obviously, it's very laid over. Again, it just goes back to, what this thing was almost intended for, which is ripping around a track. So it makes sense. And for someone like me, I actually like it. Regardless of how comfortable it is or how uncomfortable it is, I am a fan of my aggressive riding positions. Oh, it just corners so easily. Wow. And I mean, you've got all the revs you could ever ask for to play with. I'm very keen to take it up to 16. Very, very keen. Positioning of the hands in terms of the clip-ons and the pressure on the wrists, right now, that's quite a lot. But as soon as you get up to speed, all of that pressure just dissipates. And, you know, that's as a result of the wind keeping you up and taking the pressure off. So it's a difficult one to say, you know, in terms of comfort, because it's not the type of bike that you buy to be a daily. So I feel like it's not designed to be comfortable. It's designed to rip track days and, you know, hit 60-degree lean angles. Oh, just listen to that. And I'll open her up here a little bit. Oh, she's fast, boys. She's fast. Feels like there should be an extra gear there. It gets up to 200 so much easier than the triple. Well, it just seems like it's much less of a struggle. Very comfortable, boys. Now, one thing I will say is that I'm getting quite a lot of heat. Oh, I found neutral. I'm getting quite a lot of heat on my left shin. I don't know what that's a result of. Hello, Mr. Police. Don't mind me. Yeah, I'm getting quite a lot of heat on my left shin. And I'm actually wearing riding boots. So, I don't know what that's about. It's just got that race feel to it. And some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. And I love it. I'm definitely there for it. So with that being said, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10 for comfort. Now let's jump onto the looks. It was so ahead of its time. I would say that in terms of 2007 models, this was the best looking 600cc you could get your hands on. I don't know what year the Daytona 675 came in. I know they had the Daytona 600s. Let's not even talk about those. They are ugly ass bikes. But I can say with confidence that it looks better than the CBR 600s, the ZX6s, and all the other bikes in that year. You have to give credit where credit is due, and this is a work of art for its time. Even nowadays, if you look at them, you wouldn't tell when people find out that this is a 2007 bike, they almost think you're lying because it looks so modern. It's got that futuristic look to it, those sharp lines. It's an awesome looking machine. You really can feel that this was designed to be ridden on the track. Ooh, such an awesome bike. And even down to the minute details like the dash. I love the look of the R6 dashes. This little shifter light over there, I love it. Yeah, there's almost no complaints about the look. One thing that I hear people complain about a lot is that negative space between the tail and the tire. I'll pop a picture up of what I'm talking about. And I also didn't like it. It was one of the things that put me off the bike. But over time, it was one of the things that, well, it became one of the things that I liked the most about the bike. So, I mean, say what you will, it's an almost flawless bike in terms of looks. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. In fact, no, I got to give it a higher rating, a 9.5. Okay, let's go. Oh, that just didn't right now. See the. Whoa, okay. The back tire started sliding there, boys. This douchebag decided to turn without checking his mirror. Woo! That back tire slides out very easily. And that is definitely a reflection on the tires that we are running on this thing. I mean, come on. You got an R6 and you're going to run basically the ultimate daily tire. Okay, come on. You know what you're doing, Brev. I'm pretty sure I said I want a 9.5. So now we're going to get on to the acceleration. Wow. I don't know this road. Oh, bumpy. I think this is the road I need to take. I'm not too sure though. Yeah, it must be. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. That's not the road we need to be taking. Definitely gonna lay off the back brakes a bit because these tires are not made for braking at speed. Let's just say that. Take away that dead spot, and this thing has got one of the most enjoyable power curves I've ever experienced. It's so consistent. It's constant power. As soon as you get above 6,000 RPMs, that is. Now, when that power kicks in, boys, whew, do you feel it? That's throw you to the back of your seat kind of power, and I'm definitely there for it. Yes, it can be annoying at some times. At other times, it's like hitting that turbo or that NOS button and just, wham, just gone. So in that aspect, I love it. But slow speed maneuvers, not really a fan of it. Just because it like kind of takes away some of my control. I feel like that dead spot is going to take away from the 0 to 100. But we're still going to do one, obviously. It's just a little side note. Whoa, look at this road, man. Oh my god. Sorry, Mr. Quid. This is terrible road. It gets up to speed so quickly. I mean, when I looked down and saw 200 earlier, I was like, really? Because the triple takes a little while to get there. But also, it's so smooth that you don't really notice that you're going that fast. For example, when I was doing like 220 there, it felt like I was doing 160. That's also what surprised me so much. So it's a very well seated bike and a very smooth bike. Overall acceleration, I'm super happy with it. It's what I expected, if I can say that, and it's actually a little bit more than I expected. I didn't expect that power to kind of go all the way right up through until 16k RPMs. I find myself having to look down to know when to shift because I'm not noticing a drop in power. Also, I can't hear shit. Oh yeah! Hello! What's up, brother? Holy fuck! Ducati gang for the boys. Oh my god! Oh yeah! What the fuck is going on right now? Oh fuck yeah! Oh yeah! Come on, R6! You can do it, buddy! I red lord. Oh yeah! I mean, the R6 did pretty damn well there, boys, if I do say so myself. And we gotta give it a good rating because we just ripped with some Ducatis. Oh fuck yeah, I'm on cloud 9 right now. What just happened? Nine out of 10 for acceleration. 9 out of 10. I was gonna... The Polish! I was gonna give it an 8. But because of that, 9. Maneuverability. Now, what I've noticed is that it's super easy to, maneuver the bike left to right like that. It is more than happy to just lay down in that corner. Now, it could be as a result of the positioning of your feet and also your wrists. But I think it's a distribution of the weight. I feel like it's a little bit top heavy, which makes it lovely for bobbing and weaving. I mean, it's so the tires do scare me a little bit, so I haven't been, really kind of leaning into the corners, but it's so happy to do this. It's very, very, it's like the perfect amount. It doesn't really throw you into the corner like the Daytonas do, but it's like, it's like the perfect amount of pressure that needs to be applied in order to get this thing to dive. It's not throw you into the corner, but it's like, I'll baby you, I'll cradle you while we go and drag knee at 60 degrees. That's what it feels like. And it's a very, very nice feeling, I must say. It feels like, it's like the bike wants you to trust it. It's like, listen, don't worry, I can do this, man. I mean, it doesn't have like insane maneuverability like that of a naked bike, but it's definitely there. I feel like an 8 out of 10 perfectly fits the maneuverability because it's a really good rating because the bike is listening to what you want it to do. But it's not an amazing rating because it's not as maneuverable as, that of a naked bike. So I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. I feel like that is a very, very good rating for the bike and it speaks to it. Zero to 100 time, boys. Okay, let's come to a stop here. I know that wasn't a full stop, but as I said, that I already said that dead spot is gonna take away from the 0 to 100, and it did. It's not a 0 to 100, boys. It's not. But I mean, there you have it. There's your 0 to 100. I am gonna put up the one that Google says also, because I have a feeling that there's a possibility that it's just this bike in particular that has that dead spot. I feel like with these in-depth videos, it does give you guys a better idea of what you're getting yourself into. Of course, if we've come the wrong way, need to turn around, it gives you a better idea of what you're really getting yourself into. If you find yourself wanting to buy the given bike. And that's kind of the intention behind these reviews. My struggle when I wanted to buy my R3 and when I wanted to buy my Daytona was that there was no, like, where's the sun? Over there. There was no, like, really unfiltered reviews that covered the things that I wanted it to cover. Well, cover the things that I wanted them to cover. So, that was one of the motivating factors behind the reviews. And yeah, I think if I can do these in-depth things more often, it would be really nice for those of you who are, wanting to buy one of these and you want to know everything about it. My goodness. All I can say is I wish this was a permanent swap. I wish the Trapona was just staying at work and this could be mine, but all in good time, boys. Nothing worthwhile comes without pain or suffering or bad things or just patience. So it's going to be worth it in the end. One day we will have one of these. So, and see, like, times like this where the people with a 5-second attention span will skip the video or will stop watching because I'm momentarily taking my jacket off. I want to include stuff like this. Oh, again. Did it happen again? Oh, no, it didn't. There you go. I want to include stuff like this, like having shit with my audio, and the just an unfiltered video. That's what I want to do. For the time being, I probably won't make it like an exclusive thing. Where it's like members only and you have to pay. But it's definitely something that I'll do in the future, without a doubt. Because I mean, if you're watching this video, the extended cut, then clearly, you wanna watch a little bit of a longer video. You wanna get a little bit more of an in-depth feeling for the bike, and I think that it's awesome. Obviously, you love your little 10-minute videos, but there's nothing wrong with a little 45-minute. Chuck the YouTube on, have some chow, chillax for the boys. Anyways, I'm yapping a little bit too much now, even for an extended cut. So yeah, boys, I need to stop saying boys so much. Guys, listen, I'm almost speechless because there's so many good things to say about it. I don't really know what to touch on in particular, and there's no bad things to say. But I'm going to speak about the things that stood out to me the most. First thing first is that dead spot. Now, I'm going to do some research. I'll pop it up on the screen once I know if it's particularly with this bike or if it's an R6 thing. That dead spot is super weird. As I said, sometimes it's cool in that you feel like you're hitting your turbo. Sometimes it's a little bit ass in that, you've got that little loss of power in terms of your slow speed maneuvers. And then all of a sudden, boom, it kicks in. So definitely wouldn't say that it's a beginner friendly bike. This one in specific, because you can be going through your slow speed maneuver and all of a sudden it's no longer a slow speed maneuver. But anyways, so definitely that dead spot, it stood out to me. Next thing, the gears. My goodness, are they seamless. I mean, wow. It's just the downshifts are perfect. The only time I hit neutral was when I was trying to downshift and I didn't rev match well enough. Sorry, that was the only time. One thing I did notice is that it felt like I was missing a gear. I don't know if I am because I wasn't really counting them, but it's definitely a possibility. Overall though, seamless gearbox, super nice and smooth, a pleasure to ride. Next thing, boys, is that cornering. I mean, it was just perfect. Absolutely no complaints. As I said, it felt like it was cradling you in its arms through that corner. Like, don't worry, man, I've got this. And it's such an awesome feeling. Even though I touched on these tires, look at this shit, get this shit out of here, man. Look at these tires. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. I had these tires on the triple, not by choice. I bought them with them on. Yes, they are somewhat decent. However, for the type of riding that you're gonna do on an R6, I feel like it's a little bit of a, what are you doing kind of situation. They do not supply that much grip. That is what I will say. I mean, you saw the back started sliding out, and there was barely any pressure on the brakes. And trust me, I'm one of those people who don't like ABS, so I know what I'm doing when it comes to braking. So I think it is mainly those tires, which, yeah, that's each to their own. Everyone's gonna run different tires. Your tires do play a huge role in the handling of the bike, but with that being said, this bike had yeah, these questionable tires on them, and it still rode the way it did, and it still handled the way it did, which was exceptional. So imagine if we had some, Pilot TC2s, or some what are they called, Angel GTs, Angel STs. Okay, the STs and GTs, I will say I have used them on track. With that little space over here, well, not little space, it's quite a big arrow over there where there's no contact. It does fuck around with you a little bit on the track, but I think for street riding, it's more than enough. For this bike, I would not be running these tires, without a doubt. I would be running GTs or STs, and that's just personal preference, the way I ride. So, yeah, as I said, boys, even though it's got some weird ass tires on it, it still rode awesome, it still handled really well, and it was still nothing but an enjoyable experience. I mean, those corners were so easy. It took them like butter. It was so smooth. So, so, so smooth. All in all, guys, it was just such an enjoyable experience. Obviously, to be out on these roads instead of the normal definitely, amplified the experience a bit. And also the 600 Ducatis that joined us. Oh, yeah! That was awesome. But anyways, it was just it was so awesome, guys. The handling, the acceleration, the maneuverability. I loved everything about this bike. And as I said previously, it goes without saying, guys, I will 100% without a doubt own one of these bikes one day. All in good time. All in good time. I was kind of hoping it would ride a little bit better. Um, Specifically speaking to that dead spot. Now, no, I'm going on about it, but it's so weird that I can't not go on about it. Yeah, I've never experienced something like that before. This is what it's like. It's like when you clapping the bike and then you hit red line and then you shift. You're clapping, red line, you lose your power. All of a sudden you shift, there's your power again. That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like you're redlining the bike at 5,000 RPMs. It's so weird, but you know, as I said, sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. Each to their own. I know I did kind of complain a lot about the seat, but it wasn't that bad actually. It when you're riding the bike, when you're not sitting in traffic, it's definitely a much more comfortable bike. As I said, it's not the bike that you buy in order for it to be a commuter. I don't know, I think maybe this guy did, judging by the tires, but each to their own. Blah blah blah, blee blee blee, blue blue blue. So yeah, overall, it is a nice comfy seat. I think if you've got a pillion or a backpack, they will be nice and comfy on this. Should actually take my wife for a ride, maybe. I don't have a helmet. Anyways, I don't have a wife. She's just my girlfriend. This is a little bit questionable. I don't know about the whole Nike thing. If you just had a little Yamaha sticker, it would be a little bit nicer. Not crazy about this. I do prefer my kind of just normal black tank pads, and I think a little bit of a different colored Yamaha sticker would go a little bit nicer with it. Then obviously, if I owned this, I would rip these mirrors off within a second, and I would get some nice Rizomas. Those 50,000 Rand mirrors. Or I would just get some Borans. Or I just wouldn't run mirrors like I do on the triple. But don't do what I do. It's a little bit irresponsible. Also, it's not really legal. But anyways. Normally people are like, Yamaha brakes, they feel like wood. Meh, 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 meh. The brakes are really nice. Very, very nice. I would just love to see what this thing rode with. I would just love to see how this thing handled with different tires, because that was the first time I've ever ridden a bike, hit the rear brakes, and it slid out like that. Yeah, it was a little bit of a brown pants situation, but managed to keep my cool. Front brakes, however, absolutely perfect. No complaints. I don't know what people are going on about when they're like, meh, 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 Yamaha brakes are woody, meh, meh, meh. There's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them at all. I did notice at the higher speeds, the steering felt a little bit loose. However, I feel like this damper has got the perfect amount of tension going on. Personally, I would make it a little bit stiffer. I like to literally fight for my life to turn those handlebars. That's how I like it. That's my kind of thing. Obviously, I did touch on that dead space, and you can see it there. So it's from here until there. Now, some of the Yamahas, I'll have to look at the generations. It doesn't have that sort of curve. It goes from here, and it's just a straight line all the way through to the tail. I think this little curve here makes it look much better. But that is what I was talking about, boys, where it's, some people love it, some people hate it. It grew on me. But that dead space is definitely something that, people kind of take their anger out on and say it doesn't look nice and all those sorts of things. I'm not crazy about the matte finish on the bike. As you can see, it exposes a lot of the stuff that's going on. It looks nice. It's just a lot of maintenance and scratches very easily. Personally, I would just have a gloss finish on it. The grips are very nice. I think these are standard grips. It looks like the CBR standard grips that you get, but overall they are very nice. I didn't have any complaints with them. Levers were awesome. Again, I'm a huge fan of these little shorties. I know I did kind of say that it was a slightly uncomfortable here for the quad or the thigh, your inner thigh. It really wasn't that bad. Again, I was just being petty, which, that's the purpose of these extended cuts, to be petty, to point out the little things that can't be pointed out in your little, 10-15 minute review. So, that's what I'm here for, you boy. That's what I'm here for. Clutch was very nice, I must say. It's when you're getting off from a traffic light, it's not very twitchy. It doesn't have that stupid throttle sensitivity where it's like you twist it like that and the fucking bike just goes. I'm a huge fan of the throttle tube on the R6s. I actually had an R6 throttle tube on my Yamaha R3, which really enhanced the riding experience. So, if you're watching this and you've got an R3, do yourself a favor and go and get an R6 throttle tube. You will not regret it. It really does enhance the riding experience. You don't have to twist your wrist nearly as much. But anyways, as I said, huge fan of the throttle tube and the throttle sensitivity as well. I really like it. It goes very well with the clutch and that friction zone of the clutch. Stock mirrors, they do work very well. When I first got onto the bike, I don't know why, but they were pointing very low down. I think it could have just been as a result of, the previous owner's preferences. But they work well. They're functional. Hello? So yeah, nothing better than having some actually functioning mirrors. Positioning of the tank and where your crown jewels sit, very comfortable. You know, it's like they thought about it when they designed it. So, all my men out there, it's a good bike for um, painless experiences, should I say. Even though it doesn't have the grips over here, I didn't feel myself sliding forward at all. And when I did my first pull, I let off the throttle, it chucked me forward. There was no pain involved. Huge W's in the chat for my men watching. The boys. Normally these things don't look too nice with the rear sets on. However, it doesn't take away from the look of the bike. In all honesty, I think it looks better with them on. If you take them off, then you've got this negative space in here. Unless you can get some covers, I'm pretty sure you can. Again, I was getting quite a lot of heat on my shin, and it was coming from over here. So I don't know what that's a result of, but it was just very weird. Even with the boots, I was feeling the heat through here. So that's a little bit weird, and it was only sometimes that I noticed it. But yeah, I just thought that was definitely worth mentioning. Now, obviously, this is gonna be our first extended cut video, so OG Anakin, OG Bleepin' Pagani, I'm gonna need some feedback here, boys. I need some assistance. What can I do differently? What can I do more of? I need feedback on this, please, because I would like to make it a regular on the channel, but I would also, like it to be enjoyable for you guys still. Obviously, it is our first extended cut, so there are going to be a few niggles here and there, but over time we will get used to it, we'll get better with it, we'll avoid the yappering a little bit, well, a little bit too much of the yappering. But yeah, I think it will be a little bit nicer to have a little bit more of the riding footage included, a little bit more of the rawness, you know, the unfiltered reactions, the nitty-gritty bits, the full deep dive into the bike. I think it's a good thing, and it's something that I would appreciate if I want to buy if I wanted to buy an R6 and I came across my review. I feel like I would appreciate it because I'm diving into the smallest of things. Yes, I'm not a motorbike expert, and I don't profess to be one, but I'm unfiltered. I notice the little things, and that's what I want to point out to you guys. Those little nitty-gritty things. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to yap about the inline four engine and give you all these statistics. No, that's that's not what I want to do with these videos. Even though I did give you guys a little bit more additional information on it, I think that's just, you know, unnecessary. But with the deep dives, I want to give you guys more of an idea of what it's like to ride this thing. I want to try and portray the exact feeling that I'm feeling when I'm riding these bikes. So for that reason, I would really like to continue with these extended cuts. But anyways, OG Anakin, OG Bleepin' Pagani, just a little thanks from me. You know, you guys have been supporting me for so long, and you've been watching all of my content. Ling Ling, I appreciate the hell out of you as well, dude, for the recent comments. And also Bleepin' Pagani and Anakin, I appreciate your guys' comments, consistency, and I know I don't always respond to all of them, but I will get to them eventually. Anyways, boys, that's a little bit too much yappa even for an extended cut. So I'm gonna finish things off here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.